goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Good morning. That's a salutation, not a description, I guess. How you doing? I'm Lynn Cullen. It's Monday, June 13th, a day after the latest mass shooting in the United States, and in fact, this one distinctive in that it is the worst mass shooting in the United States. 12 times, President Obama has had to address the nation after one of these mass shootings. 12 times. And each time it's the same thing. It's Groundhog Day, only unlike Groundhog Day, we learn nothing. Bill Murray in Groundhog Day eventually grew from the repetition, not us. So horror builds upon horror. An elementary school, a theater, a military base, a meeting of co-workers, a church, a nightclub. It's, I think, I don't know how you're feeling today. Despair is somewhere in the vicinity of my feeling. Despair. And it's despair because of the inability to learn from these massacres. We change not one whit. Amazing. I don't even want to get into, the finger pointing. I'll tell you something I know without having any data at all. I can tell you right now that gun stores today are doing booming business. Because a lot of Americans, millions I bet, reacted to the news of this horror by saying, now they're going to take my guns away. That's what they say. I thought that Frank Bruni, writing in the New York Times, said things pretty well. He says that, that you look at the Paris shootings, you look at the shootings at the Charlie Hebdo offices, the caricaturist offices there. You look at the attack yesterday on a gay nightclub, and he said, it's not like it's an attack on gays or an attack on satirists, an attack on moviegoers, an attack on what they all are. All of these attacks are attacks on freedom. I'll quote him here. He's talking about the Paris attack on the satirist magazine and yesterday's. Both took aim at societies that, at their best, integrate and celebrate diverse points of view, diverse systems of belief, diverse ways to love. And to speak of either massacre more narrowly than that is to miss the greater message, the most pervasive danger, and the truest stakes. We don't know what motivated this killer, but we can assume, no, we can be sure that he was lashing out at an America that is at odds with his smaller, darker, more oppressive mindset. It's an attack on freedom. That is what terrifies those that attack us. And he points out that in countries throughout the world, to be gay is to be in mortal danger. To embrace love is to court death. And he quotes the Los Angeles mayor, Eric Garcetti. Today we know that we are targeted as Americans because this is a society where we love broadly and openly. Because we have Jews and Christians and Muslims and atheists and Buddhists marching together, because we are white and black and brown, Asian, Native American, Every hue and every culture is here. That is us at our best, and that is what those that attack us can't bear. I don't. So the president has had to figure out something to say 12 times. I've had to do it more. And rather than have more to say, I find myself with nothing left. And in that regard, I'm sure I'm like many of you. Melanie wrote last night, I'm hoping that some of your audience will be able to give us some guidance. Huh? I doubt it, huh? She says, where do we start? She says, I've reached my breaking point on this ridiculous, horrendous gun issue. I've thrown my arms up before and thought nothing can make this better, but I just can't anymore. If we don't do something, anything, aren't we part of the problem? Yeah, I think we are. And she's wondering, so what do we do? We have a caller. Hello? Caller? Hello? Hello? No? Okay. Well, I was hoping somebody had something for us, because heaven knows I don't. I mean, it's clear that one thing that has to be done in this country obviously has to do with guns. This doesn't happen in any other country in this world. We're going to try to get the call again. Hello? Hello? Oh, for Christ's sake, excuse me. So, I understand that I just saw this on like a tweet, so I don't have a lot of stuff to embellish other than what the tweet said, which was that I guess Bernie Sanders must have been on Face the Nation or Meet the Press or something like that, whatever one, what's his name does. Who's the guy on NBC? And Sanders must have said something about guns. And the host said something about, do you think you should be politicizing this when it's so raw? And that's always what's said. Oh no, this is not the time, right? There's never a good time. But I do think quite clearly, I mean, if we're to start anywhere, it's to break the stranglehold that the National Rifle Association has on the entire Republican Party and many in the Democratic Party. It's intolerable. And it is responsible, largely, for these mass murders. That the guns used yesterday could be legally purchased. assault rifle, a rifle like the M16. It was the AR-15-like gun is something that was created for military use to kill. And you don't have to be a marksman to walk into a crowded nightclub where people are cheek to jowl in a darker setting and just start spraying bullets. It's amazing anybody got out. Purchased legally. A man who had been on the investigated by the FBI twice was able to walk into a store and purchase a weapon of mass murder. Will someone explain to me why that should be? You can't. It's inexplicable. It's indefensible. It's the very definition of insanity. And we're not going to be able to get anywhere with this until we start. I don't know. Do we have to become single issue voters? Is that where you start? I don't know. Because this ain't the last one. Obama's not going to get out of office before he has to make his 13th speech. And then maybe his 14th, 15th. Who the hell knows? I mean, these things do beget others. This was a hate crime. We can talk about the insanity of gun control, and we can talk about the insanity of homophobia. This one is a potential teaching moment on so many levels. We got the questions, we just don't have the answers. The question is why? Why? And then to see the immediately demagogic response of a man who is one election away from becoming the president of the United States to this, who initially tweeted something so reprehensible that I don't even know if I can recall exactly what he said, but it was something like that he appreciated the congratulations he was getting for... This is what he said after we find that 50 innocent young people had been slaughtered. He was thank you for the congratulations that I called this. That this is doing I saw somebody said doing a victory run. We're going to try a caller again. Hello? Caller, hello?
Yes, Lynn.
Hi.
I just have one comment. When the country was first formed 200 some years ago, they had muskets. Muskets had to be fired with a powder and one bullet or one whatever object you could put through the slot to kill somebody. I don't think the founding fathers ever envisioned.
Of course not.
He would have guns that can kill. I mean, he killed 50 people, but he injured another 50 people. So that ripple effect. I mean, how many families have been affected by this? I mean, I know that psychologically the whole country's been affected, but physically, those people that are injured,
Oh.
They say in battle, it's better to have an injured person. From a very disturbed point of view, it's much better to injure the person than to kill them, because now they got to care for that person. So all the families have to be suffered with this. It's terrible.
Yes. You know, the ripple effect of one death is, it's not just think of the friends, the people who love them. Think of, and I believe the hospital is saying that there will be more dead. These wounds are grievous.
It's terrible.
It's beyond belief. And you are so right. A musket is what our founding fathers, when they penned that Second Amendment, thought of when they were thinking of a right to bear an arm. Right.
This country's so warlike, it's terrible.
I know. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Yeah, a musket. That was what it was. That was their idea. Yeah, you can have your musket. And a musket, what? You had to stick one ball in and shoot it, and then you had to go. I mean, it. They could no more imagine. We are insane. Hello, caller.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Wow. You just kind of said what I was going to say. Until we get rid of the gun, all it is you go back in history, you have always had the crazies.
Yeah.
And the crazies are just getting better guns, that's all. They can wipe out 50 people in like 5 minutes.
That's right.
So, and I'm tired of the news, keep having it on. After you show the deaths and all that, let's give it a break. Let's move on. You're not going to do nothing about it, then just move on. Because they're not going to do it, and we can vote, and we can do whatever we want, but until you get rid of these guns, these machine guns, and whatever else these people get, you're not going to change nothing. We know that. That's the problem, the guns. It's not ISIS, it's not domestic, it's the guns. The guns are killing.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
It is as simple as that.
It really is. I mean, let's face it, if you would have went in there with a pistol, you wouldn't have wiped, somebody would have stopped you. You got a machine gun, you got an assault rifle, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
You got better guns than the police do.
So, yeah, absolutely. And Trump, of course, has now said that if people in there had guns, this wouldn't have happened. Come on. The reaction is that they think more guns is it's just unbelievable, delusional insanity. And here's the thing. There is no way, as you said, there have always been crazy people. There are tons of crazy people in this country. And they can get their hands on weapons of mass destruction.
Exactly.
Pick a site. We're all vulnerable. I mean, you could pick anything. I mean, we're often all in groups in some kind of a setting, having fun, at a party, at a theater, or whatever, and a crazy person can go in and wipe all of us out, and there's no way that policing can get a handle on lone wolf attacks like this in a country where somebody can walk into a store and buy 2-3 weapons of mass destruction, no problem. How do we stop it?
It's only going to get worse, too. Somebody's going to come up with even more and more, and it's gonna be more people, and it's going to, I don't know when they're going to wise up in Washington. Probably never, because you got the Republicans that they don't want to do nothing.
No, they won't do anything.
So, it's not we might as well get used to this. This is the new normal of the great America we live in.
Yep. This is us. And it is one ugly sight. Incredible.
Yeah, it's
incredible.
Amazing. Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, here's Trump. Appreciate the congrats for being right. That was his reaction. And he says, see, can't let these Muslims in. And this guy was born in New York City. So I guess maybe now, I know, here's what Trump will come up with. So now we'll deport all the Mexicans, and then I guess we better start deporting all of the second-generation Muslims. We can empty the country. We have a call. Hello.
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike from D.C.
Hi, Mike.
What I don't get, please somebody explain this to me. What is so magical about the words Islamic terrorist? Why does Trump and the Republicans think if the president mentioned those two words, it would be like a magic genie, and people who hate, for whatever reason, because the Quran tells them that fags should be killed, or the Bible tells them, or for whatever reason, women wearing halter tops, whatever crazy belief they have, would magically stop happening?
Well, the question answers itself because it's absurd. It's absurd. Two little words could apparently stop all of this, huh?
Abracadabra, Islamic terrorist.
There,
right?
Solve that.
It's that whole thing Bush with a W started, which was magical thinking. You know, go shopping and it's going to solve the economy. You know, after 9/11, this whole magical thinking thing. There really is something different with Republican brains than there are with Democrats, and it's been clinically proven. And I'm just so annoyed about the whole, if he would only say Islamic terrorist.
It's something. It really is. And I mean, I know Hillary Clinton said that she's not going to declare war on an entire religion. And she's right, because to do so would radicalize more Muslims. It's insane to do that. It's obviously, there's clearly something in the Islamic world right now that is deadly as hell, and it's playing out all over the world. But there are millions of Muslim Americans who are every bit as American as any other Christians, and then think about it. What would be said? Did Trump come freaking out about after the theater shooter in Aurora? I mean, was he Muslim? No. Was the guy who gunned down all those black people at the church, was he Muslim? What? All of a sudden this is Muslim? The thing they all have in common is ready access to weapons of mass destruction.
Not just like semi-automatic rifles. And that's another thing I want someone to explain to me. What is the purpose of a semi-automatic rifle? What is the practical, everyday, day-to-day purpose of a semi-automatic rifle?
To kill.
And why aren't the police, seriously, who I'm sure most of them are with the NRA, why aren't the police saying, we shouldn't let our citizens have these guns? Why aren't they fighting the NRA? Because the NRA is not going to listen to me. But they would listen to other NRA members. Some cops have. I mean, you've got lots of chiefs of police. The NRA has beat the cops on, and remember with the armor-piercing bullets? The cops all over the country came out against allowing those to be purchased by Americans, and they lost. They lost to the NRA. Why would somebody need an armor-piercing bullet? Well, here's a theory, and I'm just guessing here, but it's because to protect yourself from the federal government.
That's right.
But if you are stupid enough to think that the Department of Defense doesn't have a weapon better than anything else that we have that we can buy in the store,
exactly,
you are delusional.
Exactly.
Delusional. And not only do they have those weapons, they're now giving them to police departments, as we can all see, to use against us.
Yeah.
There will always be a weapon better than the one you have hidden under your bed. Always. And pretend that the statistics didn't say houses with homes have a higher rate of suicide, have a higher rate of fatal shootings, have a higher rate of everything. Just the fact that there's always going to be a better gun, you think would be enough rationale to say, okay, maybe a gun that shoots 40 bullets in 20 seconds isn't going to help me.
Yeah, but I'll go out in a blaze of glory. There's no, I mean, there's no talking rationally on this issue, obviously.
You asked a question about why weren't there more people killed in that bar. I've been in that bar. And in the back of it, there's a patio where you can go and smoke and drink outside.
Yeah.
That is the only reason everyone wasn't shot up.
Because people in the patio could get out.
Could get out. And then there was that easy access to the patio because if you've ever been to a gay bar, there's like one door in and one door out.
There's a diagram of it in the New York Times, and I'm looking at it, and I see the patio is rather large, and it's in, so the people there, and there's just one entrance. Although somebody immediately broke down a barrier to an employee exit or something that saved a lot of people.
And a bunch of drag queens climbed out of a window after they got the air conditioner out of the dressing room or something.
Jesus.
And I can't tell you, in every gay bar I've ever been in, I'm sort of a little panicky anyway, but every gay bar I've ever been, I think, if somebody comes in right now, where would I run? Because really, because of the 70s, 60s, and 70s, we had to hide in dark little dirty places. So all of our clubs are like in bad neighborhoods and have one exit and one entrance. They're like fire traps.
Where did I see somebody said that gays have been so used to living with fear that they're not going to be cowed by this. It's part of their.
I didn't go out last night, but I bet every gay bar was packed.
I bet so too.
And I bet as soon as Pulse opens again,
it'll be packed.
Be in line out around the door.
I agree.
And I put on my Facebook account, I survived AIDS. Guy with a gun, try us.
Yeah. Somebody said that they every gay man you know survived being a gay teenager.
Right.
And if they can go through that, they can handle this threat.
Which is even more proof because about if that guy didn't have a semi-automatic rifle, we would have taken him down. All you needed was one gay guy behind him, and that he would have been taken down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But he came in and had that fight with the doorman, and then pandemonium erupted.
Yeah.
But there's clearly nothing that the victims can do against a semi-automatic rifle. We even have classes at work about, for an active shooter, what do you do? And I literally cover you. You know there's doors that open that have a arm at the top that hold the door open or closed?
Yes.
We're told to take off our belts and wrap it around there so that he can't open the door because obviously our doors don't have locks. And we're told to, when we hear him out there or hear him out there, to turn off the lights and everybody stand up by the door and hold a chair. And if he comes in, if the door ever opens for a second, throw that chair at him. But honestly, Lynn, that's just bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
Like during the nuclear warnings as a kid where you put your hand over the back of your neck and get under your table.
Duck and cover. Bullshit.
Right. There's nothing those victims could have done to stop that guy with a semi-automatic rifle. 40 or 50 shots in a 30-second period. And then I'm wondering this, and I probably shouldn't, but why did it take the police to take 3 or 4 hours?
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I don't understand that either because you got to believe that there were wounded people in there that subsequently died because they couldn't get...
Sure.
Yeah.
Like doing the hostage taking.
I don't understand the 3 hours either. I don't. And
Did they think he was going to shoot himself? Did they think he was going to ask for ransom demands? What did they think this lunatic was going to do? And that's one thing that the police are getting better at. is learning how to deal with these things.
Yes. Practice makes perfect, yeah.
If you ever run from one of the events, put your hands on the back of your head and run. Don't run helter-skelter. You know?
Yeah.
Close off the entire block. It's terrible that we have to think this way, but we're not going away. And I don't care if you saw two gay guys kissing in Miami.
Yeah.
What surprises me is you went to Miami and didn't see two gay guys kissing. It's Miami, not Tehran.
That's right. America, freedom. I think what Bruni said is so right. We have all kinds of people here, and we tolerate each other. Most of us do. And then you have demagogues like Donald Trump whipping up hatred, separating us into them and us, and that's why he is so dangerous at this time. More than
so his theory was to not let any Muslims in the country.
Right.
Right. So hate to tell you, but a whole swath of America are Muslims. So are we going to send them off with the Mexicans?
Yeah, we're going to deport everybody, pretty much, except white men, I guess. This guy, and if you look at who the shooters have been, most of the mass shootings in this country have not been done by Muslims, okay? Not. They've been done by Christians.
Right, who also hate gays.
All religions hate gays.
Right. And which is why we have such an affinity with Jews, because Jews aren't popular either. So I totally get the, looking for your place to be in the world without being killed.
Well, I guess a coworker said that this guy was clear that he didn't like gays, didn't like Jews, didn't like blacks, and didn't like women.
Yeah, he beat his first wife.
Yeah.
He divorced him after 3
years. Yeah. Unbelievable. And I take that word back. It's not unbelievable. This is America, and this is normal now.
We're not going away. We're not going away.
No.
So all of these people that think that they're going to kill themselves and somehow become martyrs and change the world, we are not going away. Even if you made this a police state, there'd be a bar with gay guys dancing and lesbians smoking cigars. We're not going away.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay,
bye. Henry writes, Lynn, 50 dead in Orlando, 32, Virginia Tech, 27 in Newtown, 128 dead in Paris. I could name, of course, many, many more. So first we're appalled, then we glue ourselves to the TV for a day, then we send out prayers, we change our Facebook profile picture to show support, and then we go along with our lives because we must, and then we wait for the next shooting when we'll just do this all over again. I'm so sick of this. I said, yeah, that's what I said, Groundhog Day. Only we don't learn. Only we don't learn. Brooke writes, I've heard a number of sources now say that this shooting was ISIS-inspired, not ISIS-directed. It doesn't matter. In either case, the shooter still has to get a gun. The shooter must acquire a gun, which he can do a number of ways. Stop his access to guns, and you stop the shooting. And don't tell me that guns don't kill, people do. That may be true, but you can't kill 50 people in 2 minutes with a knife or a pistol. When you vote this fall, whether it be for president, senator, or congressman, look first at how much money they took from the NRA. That's a good. I agree. Anybody taking money from the NRA, don't vote for him. And like in this state, that's a lot of Democrats too. We love our guns here. Our only hope is that the sane members of the National Rifle Association, and there must be a lot of them, start leaving and speaking up. President Bush the first was an NRA member who quit over this kind of thing. You need more of that. Each one an individual act, each one perhaps, it's like people have to act individually. Roger writes, emotionally, I'm all over the place yesterday and today. The killings of the Voices singer Christina Grimmie, which also happened in Orlando the night before. And the nightclub killings has really dampened the Pens winning the championship indeed. I'm trying, not very successfully, not to be angry with all the yahoos on Facebook who are already posting their fear that their guns will be taken away. I guess it would show some serious desensitization if I was feeling great about the win. Like I said, I'm all over the place. With Trump and Bernie's popularity showing Americans are tired of business as usual in Washington and American constituents are not represented, when will it be recognized that the National Rifle Association and gun lobbyists are part of the business as usual culture? It's a good point. With polls showing 85 to 90% of Americans wanting tougher gun control, isn't it time to reject the Washington insiders, or do we just pick and choose which lobbyists we like? And if a good guy with a gun is the best defense against a bad guy with a gun is the response by pro-gun Republicans, then why are guns banned from the Republican convention? We have a call. Hello.
Oh, hi, Lynn. My name is Mary.
Hi, Mary.
I was at Pride yesterday downtown, and it just had such a feeling of the world is moving in the right direction. We're finally making progress, and we're making progress because ordinary people just said we're not having it.
Right.
We're going to live our lives and be what we're going to be. And I was actually feeling good because there hadn't been an act of mass violence in a while, and there was no act of mass violence in a school this year. And I thought maybe since we weren't publicizing the shooters as much, that was affecting things. And then this happened, and it makes no sense. But I just wanted to say, in addition to everybody who was involved, all the first responders are traumatized. Everybody at the ER is traumatized.
That's right.
They're not prepared to deal with this, and I'm sure there's no trauma services in Orlando and not adequate for this. And it couldn't have happened at a worse time. It's the weekend at a hospital. Everybody knows nobody's there.
That's right.
Just terrible. It's so bad. I don't think people can imagine how bad it is.
So tell me, I wasn't at Pride yesterday. It didn't dampen wasn't that sort of what everybody was talking about, or was there just a determination to still celebrate?
There was a determination to still celebrate, but a lot of floats had to find in support of Orlando.
Yeah.
It was acknowledged, but everybody was just trying to. It was a happy atmosphere,
Carry on, right?
It felt like this is the way it's supposed to be,
Exactly.
You're supposed to be you, whatever you are, And
that's right.
I don't know.
You can't kill us all.
No, we're all God's creatures. Jesus.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Another emailer writes, the only way to stop this is for the police nationwide to step up as a group and take on the NRA. But that's going to happen. But that's not going to happen, is it? Well, I think a lot of the cops are not of one mind. A lot of them are NRA members, I bet. And as I said, when the police have, like the Association of Police Chiefs have in the past, lobbied against something the NRA was lobbying for, they lose. They don't, the police don't own congresspeople and senators. The NRA does. And what this all boils down to, Bruni Frank Bruni says it's people who are terrified of the freedom that we enjoy. And there's a lot of truth in that. And it's those same people who fear are also people who hate. They hate the other. They hate difference. They're terrified and they hate. And when people in positions of authority and power in our country openly stoke that fear and hate, they are a big part of the problem. So, Donald Trump and his ilk, a big part of the problem. I came upon this. This is Republican congressman from Texas, Louis Gohmert, a real gem, this one. And listen to this. He says, if the world is facing, come along with me on this, you're not going to believe what I'm about to say. If the world is facing a civilization-ending asteroid strike, he said this in a speech on the House floor. If the world is facing a civilization-ending asteroid strike, we will have to launch a Noah's Ark-type spaceship. And if you could decide what 40 people you put on that spacecraft that will save humanity, it would make no sense to include gays. Did I say he was a Republican? No, I didn't have to. When you have a party that traffics in fear and hate and bigotry, as the Republicans have for decades, it's why they end up with Donald Trump. But this is where all this craziness starts. It's aided and abetted by people in authority. My guess is they'll find this guy has had no real contact with ISIS, but he was flitting around, flirting with it. Why else would the FBI have ended up talking to him twice? And now the FBI is going to be under attack because they didn't predict this guy is dangerous. Well, he might not have acted all that dangerous. He obviously answered the questions well enough that they weren't going to what? What were they going to do? He committed no crime. Put him on a list? Fine, put him on a list. What the hell does that do? We have found out that people on the no-fly list can walk into a gun shop and buy an AR-15. So if he'd been on the list, it wouldn't have made any difference. This is the stranglehold that the NRA has on our government. Who's one of the most powerful people in this country? Wayne LaPierre. He literally terrorizes a majority of our elected representatives. He and his organization terrorize them. You tell me how you guard against a lone wolf. Tell me. Anybody got any bright ideas? This guy obviously didn't talk to a lot of people about what he was going to do. He just did it. How we spoke. And here again, the one thing, the one thing that would have stopped him from the slaughter was if he couldn't have gotten that weapon. Right? Can somebody tell me I'm wrong about that? I don't care if he was mentally ill. I don't care if he was sympathetic to ISIS. I don't care any of that. The fact that he was able to slaughter and maim 100 people in a matter of seconds was because he lived in a country in which he could walk into a store and walk out with a weapon that was manufactured to kill as many people as possible in the shortest period of time. What the hell does that say about us? I run out of words. I'm sorry. I will change the topic. I'm going back to the Stanford rapist because there was an interesting piece in the Washington Post that I think bears some attention. It explains that there is real confusion in young people's minds about what constitutes rape. It seems incredible that that's so, because never before has rape been, sort of front and center, and especially on college campuses where there are handbooks that are given to incoming freshmen, right? Here's what this, that. But they point out that all these wonderful friends of his, Brock Turner, the rapist, that they wrote, of course, to the judge saying, please, this guy is a nice guy. He couldn't. And listen to one of his friends, what she told the judge. Where do we draw the line and stop worrying about being politically correct every second of the day and see that rape on campuses isn't always because people are rapists? Okay, just try to get your head around that one. Try to get your head around that. And then she goes on. This is completely different from a woman getting kidnapped and raped as she's walking to her car in a parking lot. That's a rapist. These are not rapists. These are idiot boys and girls having too much to drink and not being aware of their surroundings and having clouded judgment. So that is, apparently, studies have shown that an incredible percentage of young people would agree with that. That's not rape. That's two drunk people. Let's look at what the law says rape is. Federal law. The Justice Department of the United States defines rape as, quote, the penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object or oral penetration by a sex organ of another person without the consent of the victim. also, these perceptions have endured even as we talk about sexual assault a lot. It's amazing. They're not getting it. And these young people are so sure that their behavior does not constitute rape that, according to one study that's been done on it, they will put a college student rapist on a lie detector test and he will pass it because he does not think that his behavior constitutes rape. So they'll pass a lie detector test. No, I didn't rape her. They sincerely do not believe that what they did is rape. And this kid still holds to that. It's interesting. And there's a large, when young men are asked, have you ever forced a woman to have sex? You'd be surprised how many will admit to that. But if you ask them, have you ever raped anybody, they'll say no. And they will often say that women say no, but they mean yes. It's amazing. I had thought that today's students on college campuses would be more aware of what it was than certainly we were when you didn't even mention rape. Rape? You didn't talk about any of this stuff. And now, with seminars being, you go to college and you have to have a seminar and stuff and blah, 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 blah. Also, this kid, by the way, is a total lying bag of crap. He, in his speech or thing he wrote to the judge, he said he was just a small town boy, came from a small town in Ohio where he wasn't subjected to this drinking culture stuff. And then, of course, it turns out that there's pictures and Facebook stuff where he's drinking, he's doing illegal drugs, he's all this stuff. He's just a friggin' lying craphead. Excuse me. William writes, genetically, he's talking about Congressman Gomert's Noah's Ark spaceship, not letting any gays on because they're just taking up space because they're not going to procreate. Genetically, he says, this is William, we would stand a far better chance starting over with at least 2,000 men and women, not just 40. But of course, I don't look to Louis Gohmert for biological expertise. Being inbred doesn't seem to worry him much. I mean, things that these people say are not really worthy of our attention. So, speaking of, I'm starting to lose my voice, so I'm going to wrap things up here. But speaking of these students, college students today, at the best schools, Stanford. I take you now to Yale. Listen to this. A group of students has petitioned the Yale English department to drop a requirement that they study English poets such as Shakespeare, Chaucer, and Milton The students claim that focusing on the works of white men harms all students and is especially hostile to students of color. Rather than excluding some of the greatest writers that we're aware of, Shakespeare, Milton, Chaucer, how about just adding others? You don't throw out these extraordinary writers who, if you're going to pretend to major or know anything about English literature, what the hell are you talking about, you fools? These are our best and brightest? Yike. That's all I have to say. Yikes. Add. Don't throw out. Add. So I think that's probably it for me. Just going to stop a few minutes short because I can tell my voice is about to leave, so I might as well go with it. It's 10:59. It's okay then. Okay. So thank you very much. Tomorrow my sister will be joining us, and maybe my mom, because she's visiting. So if she's game, I'll try to get her in. I don't know if she'll want to do it. She doesn't even listen to the show, so why would she? But we'll see. Maybe. Okay? Have a good day. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.